What do you have in common with companies? Now, when we own stock, we own companies. And did you realize that there are a lot of similarities between us and companies? Let me explain. People worry about the stock market randomness. If you look at stock markets and you look at a stock market chart, what does it look like? Up and down and up and down and up and down, back and forth, and it just seems like this randomness and you don't know what's coming next. We'd like to predict it because we fear the future. I'd love to know whether the market's going to go up or it's going to go down so I could plan appropriate. But we realize that we don't have the ability to plan appropriately because we don't know what markets are going to do. So let's explain how you and companies are similar and why it causes me not to worry about stock markets. Now, companies sell stuff, right? So you have sales, and you may have seen me do this before. Company sells something, and then they have the cost of goods sold. They have things that they have to buy in order to sell the stuff that they sell, and they have operating expenses. You got to pay the employee salaries, the electric bill, the phone bills, and all of that stuff. And then you have taxes that you've got to pay as a company, and you get down to here, and you get to earnings. Okay, so companies have earnings after they pay all of those expenses, and everything's hunky-dory and everything. But what happens is this: all of a sudden, let's say that the earnings go down, and we have the sales drop for some reason. And we look at that and go, okay, so this is where the randomness is coming in. What causes sales to go down? Well, it could be that your company's product is obsolete, or your expenses have gone up, or maybe your supply chain is all messed up, or maybe the government's gone and raised taxes on you, or maybe employee salaries are going up because all of a sudden now you got people striking and all of a sudden you've got more expenses in that area. And all of a sudden these expenses have gone up and these sales have gone down, or maybe your cost of goods sold has gone up because of the supply chain issues. Now, think about it just like you would think about yourself. What would you do if all of a sudden your sales went down, or in other words, your salary went down? So we could go over here and we could say, well, that could be the same as salary, right? And then you have your household costs could be part of what comes out of that. And then you have expenses for your mortgage payment, or you have, let's say, your kids' college education expenses or whatever, and you get down to here and you have money that's left over, hopefully, at the end of all of that. And all of a sudden your salary went down because you became disabled, you got in a car accident, you lost your job, maybe you had a pay cut, or it could be on the other side. You could have something positive happen. You got actually a pay raise. But we're talking about bad stuff here, so I'm going to stick on the bad stuff thought process for a second here. Or let's say your household expenses went up or whatever. Now all of a sudden you got a problem down here, just like the company had a problem right here. What do you do in that case? Well, you may find a different job, or you actually, maybe you go out and you look for different work, or you actually work overtime, or you do something to increase your salary. Or you may go, I can't increase my salary. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to reduce my household expenses, my household costs. I'm going to cut the cable bill. I'm not going to go out to dinner as much. I'm going to, maybe some of the kids' expenses are going to have to go down for a while. They're going to have to do without for a little while. You will do whatever you have to do in order to fix this problem that you've gotten into. Same thing with a company. That's the beauty of owning stocks. You own companies, and they are run by people that will do whatever they've got to do to get this to go back up. Now that leads me to another thought process I often explain to people, because some people say, well, I'm kind of scared, I'm worried about stock market, I'm going to put all my money in fixed income investments, I'm going to put it in CDs or something like that at the bank. And I have to explain to them, look, you're taking huge risks. Where did people lose all of their money historically? If we look back through history, it is typically when you've had countries whose currency became worthless. Think Germany. Think of all of the, if you look around the world, Argentina and so on and so forth, where their currency became worthless, people that had all their money in banks lost everything. So you look at that and say, no, it's not necessarily safe. But let's take a deeper look at the valuation of our fixed income investments and where it comes from. When I have a company, they have earnings. Now, what happens to those earnings? They get taxed. Okay, so we have taxes there. We have people that work for the company, operating expenses. They have their salaries. They get taxed as well. Now, if all of a sudden, let's say that sales went down and all of a sudden the company's profitability went away, what is going to happen? Our salaries are going to go away, and therefore that's one source of taxes that go away. Also, companies' earnings don't get taxed. If you're not earning any money, you don't have taxes. Well, if all of a sudden taxes have gone away, then what else goes away? Government. Because that's what they live on, is taxes. And if government goes away, what else goes away? FDIC. Our banking backstop, if you will, goes away. So all our protection goes away. So think about it this way. Everything in our financial system, everything is built on this working, and it's built on the idea that companies are run by people that will make sure that this comes back no matter what. So that's why I don't worry about the stock market. You know, the protective factor is that it's run by people, just like your household. You probably don't sit around worrying all the time that you're not going to make ends meet or you're not going to fix things if something goes wrong over here. And that's the same exact thing with a company. So that is how a company is just like you.